Hello, hello. Nice to see you guys again. Today I'm cooking a cloud cake and I have to crack on because I've got ingredients here that won't stand if I don't crack on with them. So cloud cake recipe I've got online and it's a chocolate cloud cake. All good things come in chocolate. So I'm going to run through the ingredients and we'll go ahead and make it. So I've got 125 grams of unsalted butter, 250 grams of plain chocolate, which I've just melted, and we separate some of these eggs out. So all in all there's 6 eggs, but 2 whole eggs and 4 separated eggs. I'll explain in a minute. Then we've got 175 grams of caster sugar, which I've already used up and I'll explain that, and then 500 ml of double cream. So this is not a healthy recipe. Word for the wise. Okay, so I have melted my chocolate. I've done that over a pot of boiling water. Obviously be really careful with cooking chocolate over water because you don't want the water in the pan to touch your heat proof. Always make sure it's heat proof, otherwise it will crack. Glass bowl, you don't want the water to touch it, and you don't want to have that too high, otherwise it will burn and you'll get a really horrible, bitter, nasty chocolate. It won't work. So I've got that, and then I'm going to get my butter. All of it should have been slightly softened, so I've done that, and I'm supposed to add my butter into. So like I said, it's not the healthiest recipe. Having said that, it is dark chocolate in here, so it's 85% cocoa solids, or 70%, 70% minimum. I put a mixture of both in because I like a bit of sweet, but not too much. So I'm just mixing this, getting this butter to melt. I don't know if you can see the bits are beginning to melt away beautifully there. While this is melting away, in my little bowl over here, I have got a number of egg whites. So I've got 2 whole eggs and 4 egg yolks. Okay, and they are mixed with some of the sugar. I'm going to put the recipe in the graphics below so you'll be able to see. But basically you've got an egg and sugar mix which is blended to be nice and smooth. You don't want any nasty lumpy bits in there. So that's why I've left a little spoon in there just to keep it mixed. And then the rest of those egg yolks you're going to use to whip up. This recipe doesn't have any flour in it, okay? And one of the things I like about this recipe an awful lot is that it's kind of designed to sink in the middle. So if you're the kind of person who makes your lovely Victoria sponge cake and it always sinks in the middle, this is one for you, because the whole idea is that the cream that we're going to whip up later sits in the middle of this slightly sunken cake. So you know, you're in business. If you're not good at making cakes rise, this is the one for you. All right. So I've nearly got my butter melted. Just a few little bubbles there, just melting around. The reason I've done it this way rather than showing you everything is because this one takes, you know, a bit of prep. As per usual, Hannah's done one of her "this takes a bit of prep" jobs. So I've done all the prep so you don't have to watch me do it, because you'd be here half an hour just watching me whisk. Incidentally, probably will only take you a couple of minutes to whisk the eggs up if you use a whisking machine, but as per usual, arm strength. Done it by hand, probably mostly because I couldn't actually find the blades for the electric one. Best laid plans. So you're now actually supposed to add in to your egg and sugar mix this chocolate. So there we go. So I'm gently going to start pouring it in. I'm going to do it slowly because obviously this is still warm, and eggs being eggs, I don't want a scrambled cake. If I was going for chocolate scrambled eggs, I'd go for chocolate scrambled eggs, but this is not quite what I was planning for. So slowly, just keep adding it in. I've never made this recipe before, so it's a first time. And the reason I'm making it is in honour of Ascension Day. Now, I usually try and celebrate all the big events in the Christian calendar. So you may well have seen some of my previous videos where I've celebrated Easter and the period known as Lent, just before Easter. I made a Lenten cake, so you know, feel free to have a look at some of the other videos I've done if you wanted to have a look at some of them. And so, you know, I couldn't find a specific cake for Ascension Day. Now, if anybody's wondering what I'm talking about, what is this? What on earth is this Ascension Day she's going on about? Ascension Day is basically when Christians celebrate the fact that although after Easter we believe that Jesus rose from the dead, there's a point in time after he'd been seen by many people and he'd chatted with his disciples and done some teaching, that there's a point where they actually saw him go back up to heaven. So the disciples are standing there and they watch him go up into the clouds, and the clouds cover him and they don't see him again. And so I thought, what a great idea, make the cloud cake, because it will remind me of that particular bit in the Bible. So there we go, hence my cloud cake making. So in here I've got part of the sugar and the egg whites, which I've whisked up, and they stand up but they're not stiff, which is what they're supposed to be. Now I think I'm supposed to do this the other way. I think I'm supposed to lighten up the mixture with a spoonful and then gently fold in the rest. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it the opposite way round, sort of. I'm going to give it a little bit in here, and then we're going to put the whole lot back in the big bowl, because I don't have enough big bowls. Who does? Who has enough bowls? Every kitchen needs more big bowls. There you go. So I'm just lightening this up with just a little spoonful, lightening up this chocolate mixture. So this is probably going to be what gives it the aeration and the sort of rising that it will get. It will get a little bit, but it's not going to get loads. So I'm going to be a bit back to front according to the recipe. I'm just going to put a bit in at a time and start to whisk it in slowly. Not going to go too mad. Now I've already got my oven set on at gas mark 4, and so that's just warming away in there, happily doing. I'm just gently mixing this in. You can see the white is now going a lovely light brown colour. I'm sure that's not going to stay light brown for very long with this beautiful dark chocolate. And gently mixing. Apparently this cake serves up to 12 people, so it's probably more of a dinner party one, but I really wanted to try it out and see what it was like. Making a mess here I am. Oh well, it wouldn't be good cake making if there wasn't a bit of a mess, right? So I'm going to just tip the rest of this in now. I think it's about time that we put the whole lot in. Now you can add other things in. The recipe does say you can add orange or Cointreau into it. I just fancied plain. Obviously if you really are a lover of chocolate and orange, then fantastic, go ahead, enjoy. I just didn't really feel it this time. I just wanted to go up with the straight up chocolate. So just mixing this in here. Not going to mix it too much because I don't actually want to over mix it and take all of the air out. All that hard work that I put in, I don't want to take out. So lovely, nice glossy mixture, no big lumps, nothing like that, so that's great. Now before you start, the recipe does say to grease and line a springform pan, so that's my springform. So that's all been done. I usually do the round bit and then I cut the sides, and from the bottom of the paper I cut little 1 centimetre slots just to make it all sit nicely down the bottom, so that it all sits in beautifully. That's all ready to go. Now I'm basically just going to pop this in to my springform pan, trying not to, that doesn't look very stable. Trying not to ruin my lovely greaseproof paper that I've put in there beautifully. So I'm going to just let that pour. Now this is supposed to be a 23cm springform pan, and I think this is 23 centimetres, but part of me is wondering if it actually should be a little touch bigger for dinner party, but we will see. Now I'm just going to stop there and just kind of reassess. Always get yourself a good spatula. Can't bake properly without a good spatula. It makes everything work better if you're able to scrape the bowl properly, make sure everything's really well mixed, then you're on to a winner if you've got a decent spatula. So I'm just going to get the rest of this in here. Lovely. So there you have it. I'm going to give it a wiggle. But the idea is that it will rise in the oven, and that the middle, even though it will cook, you're supposed to wait until it's not, you know, so it doesn't feel too wet in the middle, and then take it out and expect that it will then droop, which is fine. We don't mind, because we're going to put lots of lovely cream in the middle, all whipped up into peaks to look like fluffy clouds. So I've got my earth, I've got my clouds, and I'm ready to celebrate Ascension. I'll show you the pictures at the end. Okay, enjoy.